Today, we are going to dive into the Urantia Book, Paper 1, Chapter 7, regarding communion with personal God. In contemporary discussion about God, there is a noticeable tendency to conceptualize the divine as an abstract force or an impersonal energy. Influenced by philosophical and scientific perspectives, many modern thinkers imagine God as the sum of universal laws, the origin of all things, or a cosmic principle rather than a personal being. However, the Urantia book, and especially the teachings of Jesus in the book, represent a strikingly different view. When Jesus spoke of the living God, he was referring to a personal God, a heavenly Father, who actively engages in loving relationship with each of us. It is this concept of personality that makes communion with God possible. It allows for authentic trust, meaningful worship, and spiritual formation. In this lecture, we will explore why understanding God as a personality is essential to our spiritual growth, how personality serves as the foundation of a divine human relationship, and how this principle is deeply reflected in the unified three-personal nature of the Paradise Trinity. To begin with, the acknowledgement of God as a personality provides the necessary basis for true communion between the human and the divine. Interaction may occur between impersonal entities, but true fellowship requires personal beings. Our prayers, our experiences of divine love, and our inner spiritual responses are not reactions to an impersonal cosmic force, but are rather relational exchanges with a personal being, a Father who listens, responds, and invites. Even though beings like the thought adjuster, which are not strictly personal, indwell the human mind and greatly enhance our communion with God, the relationship itself remains personal in essence. It is a connection between personalities, and thus it requires the personal nature of both God and man. Furthermore, union with God is not achieved through the dissolution of the self into the divine, as a drop of water merges into the ocean, but rather through a progressive, conscious alignment of the human will with the divine will. Through an ongoing personal relationship, a human being may acquire divine qualities and increasingly resemble God. This sacred communion cannot exist outside of a personal context. Only personalities can relate, grow in trust, and share love. While truth and beauty can be conceived of in abstract ways, divine goodness can only be fully appreciated in the context of a personal relationship. Only a person can love and be loved. Even beauty and truth, when disconnected from a personal God, the loving Father, may lack relevance to our spiritual survival. Therefore, personality is not just a metaphysical construct, it is a spiritual necessity. Importantly, the personal nature of God does not compromise his infinite and unchanging essence. Even though we live in an ever changing and evolving world, we are capable of recognizing enduring personal identity and unity of will within ourselves. This enables us to apprehend, through personal experience, the reality of God's consistency, reliability, and sovereignty. No amount of mathematical reasoning, philosophical logic, or theological theory can prove the personality of God. It is only through the personal experience of aligning with His will, living as a son or daughter of the Heavenly Father, that we come to spiritually realize His personality. Scientific reasoning and theology may suggest God's existence, but they cannot confirm His personal nature in the way that authentic spiritual experience can. The higher concepts of personality in the universe include self identity, self consciousness, free will, and the capacity for self revelations. These qualities inherently imply the ability to relate to other equal personalities. In the Paradise Trinity, for instance, we see an eternal union of three divine persons, Father, Son, and Spirit, who exist in perfect unity. This unity is so absolute that divinity itself appears indivisible. Though the three personalities remain distinct, the Lord our God is one, yet within that oneness resides the fullness of interpersonal relationship. The individual indivisibility of divine personality does not hinder God's ability to share His Spirit with human beings. Just as a human father can reproduce himself through his children without diminishing his own individuality, so too does the universal Father bestow fragments of himself without compromising his unity. This principle of indivisibility within unity also implies that the ultimate state of deity transcends time and space. Thus, neither time nor space is absolute or infinite. The first source and center is the infinite one who transcends all matter, mind, and spirit. The fact of Paradise Trinity does not weaken the truth of divine unity. The three personal deities of Paradise function in perfect oneness in all relations with universal reality and all created beings. The existence of these three eternal persons never violates the truth of God's indivisibility. Although we may struggle to fully articulate these cosmic realities in human language, we are encouraged not to lose heart. These divine truths are not fully self evident even to higher personalities in the celestial realms. As we advance spiritually on our long journey toward paradise, these truths will become clearer through personal transformation and deepening insight. In conclusion, the concept of personality stands at the very heart of our understanding of God. It is not a mere philosophical abstractions, but the key that unlocks the door to a living relationship with the Creator. Through the lens of personality, we come to know God not as a distant power, but as a loving Father who invites us into communion, transformation, and co creative partnership. To know God as a person is to enter into a dynamic process of spiritual growth. As we experience this relationship, we are gradually changed. Our moral character is refined, our inner life is illumined, and our will becomes harmonized with the divine will. This is the essence of spiritual progress and the path toward divine likeness. Although we may not yet grasp all the mysteries of God's nature, the seeds of this truth is planted within us. As we journey upward toward paradise, we will grow into ever greater understanding and realization. Through our relationship with the personal God, we are empowered to walk the path of eternity, not merely surviving, but living in truth, beauty, and goodness. To walk with the living God is to embrace the dignity of a being, a personality endowed with spiritual destiny. In that divine fellowship, we find not only the meaning of our existence, but also the fulfillment of our higher hope.